Okay, I'd like to open the regular planning board meeting for Tuesday, whatever day this is, the 13th. And please join me in pledge allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So this meeting is being broadcast live as well as being recorded. First up, our key action items. 1A is proposed 40B development, comments, feedback, and discussion.
Just a quick correction on the agenda. This actually hasn't been proposed before the ZBA yet, so
Okay.
this is being going to be presented by the proponents or the planning board just as a conceptual review to get some initial comments on the proposal that they are intending on bringing to the ZBA at a later date.
Okay. Please identify yourself.
My name is David Oliveira with Hearth and Stone Development. I small real estate developer and broker here in town.
Okay.
And I'm looking to propose 12 condominium townhouse units, 3 buildings, 4 units each, farmhouse style. You should have a packet there with some imagery of the floor plan and layout of what I'm proposing. 3 of them will be affordable, and we're going to go through the 40B process. You know, the current parcel is currently commercially zoned in the Science and Technology Overlay District. Route 6 is right there, and it's just sort of this empty parcel, so I'm trying to put it to good use.
Okay, so I see Sanford Road.
Yep.
I see Route 6.
Yep, we're off to the right over here, and then on the left, the entry would be on Sanford Road, 24-foot road that would come in. I'm working with Sean Leach. He couldn't make it this evening, but he's definitely quarterbacking and helping me out through the process quite a bit. I've worked with him a lot, so he kind of positioned these like this. We did have a...
Do you have a locus? Yeah, there is.
Right.
We got the...
Route 6 is to the north.
Do you know what Porter's is? The restaurant, Porter's da Cidade? Okay, there's some apartments in the back that connects to it up through Route 6 in the back. I own the apartments and the land in the back there.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we had a preliminary meeting with Mass Housing already as well for the PEL letter, and they were pretty excited about it. They got me logged in so I can start filling out the online application. Municipal water at the street, and we were going to do private Title V perk tests to see where it's going to land. Sean was mentioning that he would prefer 1 septic system per building if he could. So that's all dependent on the perk test.
Why did he say that?
Maybe for a construction cost, so it wouldn't be like spaghetti all going to 1 septic system, but
Did you say 1 septic system for the whole development, or 1 for every single unit?
each building, one each.
So
Yes,
there'd be
sir.
3.
3, yes, yep.
So I still don't understand his thinking on why 3 is better than 1.
Buildings or septic systems?
Septic systems.
Oh, maybe just from a development cost standpoint, having the tubing go through all out the place, and also I wanted to do, if I could, phased construction, 1 building at a time, complete 1 and move on. So there would be a lot of front loading in the cost to get 1 entire septic system done. But besides the point, I could do all 3 at the same time, economically.
You could.
Yes, sir.
if you're gonna do that, I would think that you'd wanna do one septic system. Because
Okay.
that would be cheaper and easier to run.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'll definitely take that into account.
And we want to make these as affordable as possible, right?
Yep, yeah, what we have to do there is 25% affordable, one in each building, and after meeting with Mass Housing, there has to be at least one end unit as well, so they made that pretty clear. So, I have some renderings as well if you wanted to see the building. I didn't have time to submit it if you wanted to take a look at it, if that is relevant at all for you.
Well, there's a little picture there, but that's,
I guess I just have a little more blown up, maybe a couple more photos. I'll just hand it off to you anyway.
Sure.
You can keep it.
Yeah, okay.
While we're looking at this one, thank you for including the topographical. The middle building, the 4 units.
Yes.
I'm looking at the floor plans, and it doesn't look like there's egress out the back. There's egress out the front, and then is there another egress?
Yeah, so I didn't give you a rear photo here, but here there's a
Well, then-
sliding door and there's actually a built patio, concrete patio that we're gonna put
So
in for.
that middle building then opens out into a pretty steep.
Yeah, there's a 5 foot and then an additional 5 foot. So, you know, we might have to do a bit of grading in here. The wetlands are pretty far back here, probably going to be in the buffer zone. The wetlands have been certified, to my knowledge, from a nearby property. I think it was Whaling City Transit had it done for some work that they were doing.
but do they have the, your side of the wetlands done?
Sean had said he had the wetlands line, but obviously would have to recertify.
You'd have to recertify. 'cause
Yeah,
that-
get
that was
Chris involved.
some time ago.
Yes, of course, yeah. We're just going off what was there, that's all.
Same with the road, the access road itself, which, you know, the way you presented, it's flat or crowned, but level, but it's overlaid on a pretty steep hill, so I'm not sure exactly how that makes the first corner there.
Yeah, Mike, can you zoom out a little bit too? We stay high up in here. There's definitely going to have to be some serious site work to keep this sort of evened out. You know, if necessary, if there's some retaining walls, I'm sure going through the construction is going to develop more than enough stone to build up some nice stonework there, if necessary, to kind of build up anything. You know, once I get in there and start messing around, we can definitely make sure that it's done right. I recently just was building something down the road, and I got enough stone to wrap the entire property with over, like, you know, it's like 3 feet high and over 1,000 feet all the way around the entire property of stone.
So how big are these units?
They're just over 1,700 square foot each, so 1,711. They're 3 bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2 floors, obviously.
And they're all the same?
They're all the same.
End units as well?
What's that?
End units are the same as the middle ones?
Yeah, so obviously a couple extra windows on the sides, but generally all the same. Everything's got to kind of stay the same for the Chapter 40B. I can't deviate too much. Everything's got to kind of be the same. The coloration might change. I'm going to do border batten siding. The imagery has steel roofs. I was going to do shingling there for economic reasons. Sorry, go ahead.
So the first building, the backs of these properties are very close to the property line, at least the ones closest to the entrance.
Yep.
And I spent a lot of my adult life living in a townhouse condominium in Connecticut. And in those, each unit had a deck that was pretty substantial. I mean, it had a cement top and was made out of timber frames.
Nice.
And each unit owned their own little backyard. And that was I think, a great amenity.
Having privacy there and
Right.
your own
It
space.
had fence around it.
Yes, sir, yeah. Yeah, I mean, automatically, my thoughts were to put some type of structure there in between the units, some type of privacy screens, of course, yeah.
In the back too, and we also had walkways
Okay,
along the back,
yeah,
all around the property.
to come to the front, yeah. Yeah, I'm not
So-
against that, that's for sure. That wouldn't be a huge ask. I think that would be really nice. I also plan on doing, obviously, it's, the woods and dark, so along the road, I'm thinking about, getting some LED lighting throughout there as well, making it, nice and sort of lit up. I'm taking sort of a bit of inspiration from the project that was done off of 177 towards Dartmouth, next to Lincoln Park here in Westport, though. I forgot the name of it. Nokichoke?
Nokotok Village.
Yeah, so,
So the other issue is ADA compliance. Any of these units going to be ADA compliant?
they were not being the 2 floors that are there. So these were going to be, I guess the goal would be families.
You
Speaking
can
of,
still have ADA compliant for families. I mean,
For first
a
floor.
lot of
units.
families have one person who is ADA.
Yeah,
And I would hope that perhaps 1 or 2 of the end units could be single story. So
Okay.
that you could do that. You have the space,
right, yeah,
and it would just require redoing the design of 1 or 2 units,
right.
or maybe 1 for each building would be nice. But it really is something that we should always be thinking about.
For sure.
there's also a requirement on sidewalks, right, for over, how many units?
This is a 40B.
Oh, so that is way.
We don't have anything to say
We
about
don't have any
that. We
jurisdiction.
can say we need sidewalks,
Yeah,
but he doesn't have to listen. The zoning board can make them, but it's something that,
Well, I think it's important to get feedback and, continue a growing relationship here, because I don't think this is going to be the only project I might present. I've already, done other projects here in Westport and just around, and, they've turned out really good, I think, overall. And, I'm not against doing a little bit of extras here and there for sure. I've done very well. I'm not looking to squeak every profit dollar out of it, and if sidewalks come into play, sidewalks can get kind of costly, but if there's room there and we can bring it in, or at least have some sidewalks here, my thought process was to definitely try to find some green space in there for them as well, some yard, dog space, something. So that's some additional things that you don't see here on the plan, that my thoughts.
it would be good to have a walkway along your side of the road. Well,
it's different.
yeah, it's gonna be a drop off there, but still,
Yeah.
it should be, it's not gonna be, you're gonna be able to see woods, basically, because it's all wet, right?
Yeah, it drops off pretty steep, and then down here is very wet. Believe it or not, this is all very high and dry. When you walk through here, it doesn't even seem like it drops this much. I mean, yes, this is what it looks like, but when you're walking it, it doesn't seem so aggressive. So I think working in there isn't going to be that difficult. It's very thinly the trees are, not very thick. It's not a lot of bush.
So do you own any of the contiguous lots?
I do. I own a lot right here, which is the 22 units with the apartment buildings. Used to be a motel, and I got in there and definitely cleaned it up quite a bit.
So this is Monaco Investments?
Yes, sir. Yeah,
Okay.
that's the entity, that single-use entity for this.
I think, first of all, we need housing in Westport, and we need affordable housing. Mr. Daler sent around some statistics on housing. It's about how and wealthier, some. But the older is the point I think our chairman's getting at. You're creating a neighborhood, which is a great thing. And so I think it would be good, even though you may not be required, to think about what connects people in the neighborhood to each other. Because that's what a neighborhood is. That's
Yeah.
what neighbors are. They're people who know each other, care about each other. And sidewalks, for example, are a way that people meet each other, gather, say hi, in the morning. And private gardens in the back are something that creates an investment. Hey, this is my place. I care about this neighborhood. Your description that you'd like to get a walk around the project, that people could enjoy what's out there. All of those kind of things create a neighborhood that people want to be part of. I understand you might be in a bind if the Chapter 40B says every unit's got to be the same, because that may conflict with what Jim's talking about, that as the population ages, I certainly feel it every time I go up the stairs in my house, that at some point, one level is preferable as you get older, and it allows you to age, maybe not in the same unit, but in the same neighborhood. So that may conflict with every unit's got to be exactly the same to provide some single level. But I think if you're guided by what makes this a neighborhood that people are really going to be proud of, and they're going to say, I know my neighbors, I care about them, we look after each other, and then you'll have a good project that people will want to be part of.
Yeah, yes, sir. I appreciate that. Yeah, no, I mean, that's something that I take into account quite a bit. And it's not just me. I run this with my wife, and she has a lot to say about not just the dollars and cents. So bringing the community.
You run into, whenever you try and squeeze a lot of units, the first unit as you come in, as our chairman said, is right near the property line. And it's hard to create room there for a garden because the road can't go any further to the east because of the grade. And you can't move everything to the south because it runs into the septic area.
Right.
So there's some challenges there. But I think if you and Sean are trying to figure out how do we create the things that people, a little private space to put a garden may make all the difference in the world to how a person enjoys that
Understood.
place.
Yep. Yeah, I take that into account. Yeah, yes, sir. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot I could do. I mean, it looks like it's not a lot of space, but I mean, this from here to here is like 500 feet or something like that. I'm sure that we could, cut out little sections here, put some privacy setting, all in here, get some grass area in here. This is already grass. It's going to stay grass. So maybe dog park here or something. So, yeah, we can definitely think about some other ideas and do some research. There's a lot of information online that might give me some ideas. This will be my first 40B project. Most of my projects are not looking for the affordable housing route. So, and to your point about building the first floor levels, I would build them all day if we had enough land.
Land.
You give it to me, I'll build it for you,
Yeah.
man. Just point. So,
Well, we're not in the business of creating land for people. It's a
Yeah.
finite resource.
But I think that's, all what John says, I think it is super. And I've been thinking about the design. I think the design is terrific.
I think it is nice, right?
And
I think it fits.
I do like the metal roofs.
Yeah,
But-
it's like three,
but-
4 times as much. It's like crazy.
Well,
Go ahead, sorry.
The standard standing seam is pretty expensive, but there's some new stuff on the market that is easier to put on, and
Okay.
I think much cheaper.
Yeah, I mean, I
So you
would,
might take a look at that.
yeah, I would love to, talk to you about that a little bit more. If you had time to send me the details on that, I don't mind. I mean, they are already very good products to put on a roof. You won't have any issues, But I just had my house quoted, and I was going to do metal on my house, and it was it's almost the same square footage, and it was pretty crazy for cost.
No,
So.
but there is stuff out there
Okay.
that you can have a contractor do yourself instead of getting a standing seam.
Okay,
I
yeah.
mean, that process is.
I would rather have the metal, to be honest with you, if it wasn't.
Well, I was on the board of directors of the one that I lived at for 26 years. And after 20 years, we had to replace the roofs. And I was up walking around on these roofs like that. And I'm just thankful I'm not doing that today.
Right.
It's crazy. But it is something that the 20 years goes by awful quick, and you're gonna have to replace them, so.
I hear it all the time. All right, thank you so much,
Goes back
guys.
faster and faster.
Thanks for coming before us.
Sorry.
That's right, yeah.
Well, first of all, I think the best thing you said is that you have your wife involved.
Yeah.
And, they can come up with some great ideas. I do, in general, think you're off to a very good start. Just offer a few comments on the site plan and the units. Regarding the site, if you could find a way to at the terminus of the last unit there,
Yep.
by sliding them forward a little bit so that you could get a proper turnaround.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, you're gonna have delivery trucks and people coming and down that road, and they'll need some place to turn around, so.
Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. It wouldn't cost me anything. If we try to just bump this a little bit, that would give me enough room to do that here, and it wouldn't cost me any more road. This road here would just loop.
Yeah.
You can move it northeast too.
Northeast that way.
Yeah.
As far as the road here?
No,
It would give you more room if you moved it up a little bit for a turnaround at the end.
Yeah, the other thing is, I wonder if I switch the buildings, if that was a big deal in his mind. No, because he wants space for them and stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a lot of talking points still. This is definitely just an early mock-up. I imagine there's gonna be changes, especially once we get the perk test done and we know where and what and if, what's gonna happen there.
And you probably don't need, and I don't know if I'm speaking out of turn here, but you probably don't need to put the turnaround at the very end. You might be able to do it in front of the middle building.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know if that would be approvable or not, but
Here?
no. Right there. And that's.
Oh, I see. They just stop here, deliver. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Or in
yeah.
that open
'Cause
space.
here I was confused. Yeah,
In that
makes
open
sense.
space to your left. Right there.
So like in this range,
Right.
some probably here, up or a pull off or something so they can make the turn. Yeah, I was already thinking about having some visitor parking. If there's like a Christmas party or something, people come over, people can fill up streets pretty quick. This is 24 feet wide, but just enough to allow people to get by, especially if there's an emergency.
My other suggestion about in the siting is that, and we were talking about this issue of the privacy, a little private space. You could achieve, if you took each cluster of 4, down the middle, you separated two, you didn't physically, but you slipped them a little bit.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So
Yeah.
slightly, one group of 2 is in front of the other group of 2. That offers a little bit of privacy,
In the front,
so
for
there's
sure.
not a whole line of
In the back.
4 patios lined up and everybody walking out. there's the ones slip behind have a little privacy from the ones in front and vice versa.
Yeah, I mean, it could make sense doing that too, especially over here, so they get sort of even backyards. You slip this one forward, you come around, this one can slip maybe like this. So
Yeah,
it's definitely, that would not be any more cost. Since they're on slabs, the foundation wouldn't be that much more money or anything. So it would pretty much be the same cost.
yeah, I was even gonna suggest, but I guess if it's, I heard something about being 40B, they all have to be similar, so that adding just a porch roof over the end unit of each cluster,
Yeah.
so that someone could enclose, could actually have, besides having an outdoor space, could have a screened-in little porch. I don't know if that makes it too much different, causes too much of a differential between the other units, but it's a way to add more value to those end units. You don't do it on every end unit, you just do it in each cluster on the
end that where you drive in, right?
on the end unit where the living room, the great room, is on, faces the end, not the dining room.
So you're saying maybe here, here.
No, the other, there, yeah, because that's the great room, right?
Yeah. Yep. That is right.
Yeah, so you go off of that
Yeah.
space and,
Or you could just do it on both ends. Maybe it would just be incorporated into the overall architectural design, and I could try to squeak it by that way. Because if you do it on both ends, then
no.
it's just to enclose the space. I would have to just do it on all of them. Yeah.
Well, it's up to you, it just adds value to these units.
Right.
You're already building a slab for an outdoor patio,
Yep.
so then you're putting up 2 posts and a roof,
Right.
and then they can enclose it with the screens that they want, or just, gives them some shaded space, which is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not against the covered space for all of them, to be honest. I'm already putting the patio there. It's just the cost of really the lumber. The framing guys are going to be there anyways. So if they throw that in, it isn't going to be that crazy. Some pylons. So there's definitely some design as far as outside of these structures that I'm going to take into account, and that is definitely one of them, because I was sort of thinking that already. One slab coming off the back is something you see in the south more often, and up here they tend to get enclosed more often. So I'd be more interested in enclosing them anyways.
But in general, though, I mean, I think you've made a good attempt to, with these gable roofs that come out over the garage, and the roof over the entryway, you help break down the scale.
Give it some
Yeah.
dimension, but still, have economically it makes sense. That was my goals.
So, I assume how are these gonna be heated and cooled? Are they gonna be heat
Yeah.
pumps?
Yeah.
Electric heat pumps?
Yep. Energy efficient, SEER 19 or whatever the goal is on the heat pump systems. Yeah, electric.
Yeah. And, you said-
Fortunately or unfortunately, everybody's a little impartial, but they like to see a lot of it in the Chapter 40B. There's literally an entire section on sustainability and all of these things.
So with 40B, is it accurate to say that all the units have to be the same?
Yes.
I
Yeah.
thought it was just the affordable ones had to be indistinguishable from the others.
Yes, that. Right.
So,
I mean, go ahead.
but you can't have a mixture of 2 bedrooms and 3 bedrooms?
This is, just so you know, I'm learning too. As I had said, I've never done 40B before, so it's definitely something I could bring to the table. Just so you know, economically, viability of the project sort of depends on the square foot sale price of the market ones, and I can't reduce the other ones too much, because then it would definitely not be in compliance if I made smaller one-level units for the affordable. I don't want to hurt them at all. I think that's the biggest point, is you can't hurt the affordable acquirers, right? The buyers.
But the affordable wouldn't necessarily have to be the one level units.
Right, but
Affordable.
but I have to sell them cheaper. So I'm talking from like money standpoint. You got to get like a certain square footage of sale rate on the market rate ones, and there's only 9. So those 9, so far how it's been underwritten, how I've looked at it is I've got to try to get that 1,700 square feet out of those, you know, if possible.
So do you
Especially if adding things, you know. Sorry, go ahead.
do you feel from your marketing knowledge that you have to have 1,700 square feet?
That's Yep. That was for the sellout price. Yeah.
And why is that?
Because then you end up getting the sale price that you're looking for on the market rate ones, you know, when this comes online in like 2028. So it's like, you know, a moving target, but you do the best you can.
And do these have basements?
No.
So we don't really have much to say here except give you our thoughts.
Yes. Yep.
My thought is you could make them a little bit smaller and have basements.
Okay.
Because basements are pretty usable space for a lot of people. And especially those ones on the steep thing, you might have a walkout basement instead of a walkout dining room.
Yeah, maybe the back too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might be
So-
right about that too.
And I lived for 26 years in a 1,270 something square foot that I bought in the 70s. And the larger ones, I had a 2-bedroom, but the 2 bedrooms were large. Basically the same setup,
Oh, interesting.
but the front doors were up a flight of stairs because we had basements and some of the property had ledge and high water table, so they didn't go down too far. But quite a few people finished the basement, so that 1,270 something square foot
Goes to 2,000.
property. Right. So, just my thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah, no worries.
Having dealt with this, we had 156 units on 13 and a half acres. So it was tight, but we each had a private backyard, and it was a great place actually for somebody starting out. And that's what I would envision here, starting out or going down in size.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk a little bit about that. You had said 13 acres, right? How many units?
156.
So I could do
And we had-
75 units on this then.
You could. Well, no, you got some wetlands. I mean, it's.
No, I'm just joking. But no, I mean, I think that we could definitely squeak out some space here for sure. I wish that the land wasn't the way it was. As far as the I wanted so bad to not get messed up because of that, but I totally forgot my thought. Well, the basement cost. So when you put basements in, you got to start worrying about the foundation. With these, I just have to do footings. You know, you guys probably know better than me. You know, the cost of the foundation that I did over here was pretty intense. Having to go and get 8-foot ceilings in the basement, and then I just finished the basement anyway. So if I did basements here, I'd have to finish them and try to get the living square footage with the walkout. I'm not against it for sure, but one thing I want to do too is definitely see the area a little bit better and see what we're working with as far as walkouts, because I could just do maybe walkouts in the back here and then up there I don't, but again, just so preliminarily, the discussion's going on. There's so much more that I have to check out over there. Sean walked it once, a couple times maybe, and so I'm going to get a lot more insight on, viability of, various options
Well, I think
moving
if you
forward.
do a basement, you don't have to finish them. I mean, people need storage space, number
Right.
one. And it helps keep, people from spreading their junk around the yard, so to speak. 'Cause
Oh,
they
yeah.
have more storage space
For sure, yeah.
available. And then they can turn them in on their own. They can finish them and to create a little, man cave down there, or whatever they want to do.
Yeah, no, again, I'm not against it.
But, so it's a thought, but my final comment was, can you look in that middle cluster, if that could be separated a little more?
Yeah,
move
yeah,
I think
that
you
makes
were
a
talking
lot
about
of
that earlier.
that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that's definitely would be the goal. It would be nice to push the whole thing back a little bit. It's less road I have to build. Road is very expensive. This is a long road, so obviously if I could put it back, it would also allow maybe some green space down here. So
Yeah, it's all about how you can configure those 3 septic fields, right?
yeah, that's a big deal.
I mean, they don't have to all be clustered together and
Yeah.
like that.
Or one big septic, so however it goes, Sean is sort of the madman that put this down on paper, so he might have had a methodology that I can't explain here as to why he put it like this, but I will get more information.
No,
Seems like an awful big septic field for the.
Just so you're aware, this is a septic system already for Portis. This is installed already.
Oh, this is for the restaurant.
Yes. Yeah, they have an easement. What you're looking at there is an easement.
Oh, that's what that line is here.
Yes, sir. Yeah, this is the easement that runs this way and goes across my property to Portis. Portis used to be a part of my property until, I forgot the gentleman's name, but had subdivided it and sold it to the current owners.
Like, so you can't, so that septic system is for another property?
That's correct.
Oh my God.
I know. So that's why it's grass already. Fortunately, it's not any bump up or anything, but it's just grass. So, and it's
That
maintained.
doesn't leave you much to work with.
Right, yeah.
Yep.
I don't think the idea I'm going to suggest is possible because it involves a couple of extra turns in the driveway. But, and especially as you mentioned, the septic system's already there. It's already an easement that constrains you. But I wonder if Sean could see if it's possible on the top building to put it on the other side of the road
Mm-hmm.
so that the road would make a turn quicker onto the property.
Okay.
Then it would have to turn back. But what you would do if you had it up at the building on the other side of the road
Yeah.
is all of a sudden you've got more room in the back.
Yeah.
And you're not as constrained by that property line.
Yeah, and everybody looks at the grass. I mean, this is high up too. So another question of mine is when I walk out there, can you see sort of the Route 6 infrastructure chaos that's going on over there? This building doesn't want to look out at that, so much. So I want to make sure the trees stay in place. I'm going to be very selective when we're doing construction in here to leave as much trees as possible, while still trying to create those spaces so that there is some privacy from seeing those things too. That's a big thing for me. I'm going to be marking them individually to keep what I can.
So are the buses still in that lot there?
Yeah.
So if you do have a full basement, to keep coming back to that, and you build out over this steep slope, you've now got a possibility of a walkout basement.
Yeah, right.
So
Yeah.
you've got added.
Yeah, that's
tilt.
Yeah, that was the point where, that'd be a great way to do it. But that's when I was saying, then I could finish them and it'd be nice, But like you said, maybe kind of leave them. So, I mean, at that point, it becomes a numbers game where you start to kind of play around with it in the
Yeah.
underwriting process. But before I get too crazy into underwriting and all these different things, trying to make what I can happen and theorize the best situation that I can so it's viable. That's the biggest thing.
Well, with the basement, and granted, it costs more, but it does a couple of things. You mentioned the kind of correlation between amount of square feet and what you can sell it for.
Mm-hmm.
So a basement's going to add square footage.
Right.
The other thing, as Mark is pointing out, is the advantage of building on a hill is you can get 2 ground floors,
Right.
and which is you know, in terms of marketing the unit.
That was fantastic. You could do a deck and a patio.
Yeah,
Right.
and you've got 2 ground floors.
Sure. Yeah. Totally fine with that, especially if we can get that other building on the other side of that road, because then I could do all walkouts, and they're all exactly the same, and there's no question there. And then a deck, you'd definitely be able to put a privacy screen up if there's a deck on the real first floor, not the basement, right? I'm sorry, I forgot who mentioned that part, but in closing, that would be nice. So,
In the condo documents.
Yes.
For each individual unit, I think it would be good if you can make the little private backyard,
yeah,
that they get ownership of the right to use that little space, so it isn't just
oh,
common
for
space.
sure. Yeah, no, that'll be deeded. Yeah, that'll be fine. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you make them nice enough. You got 4 of us here, now you only have to sell 8 more.
There you go. Yeah, there's no bedroom on the first floor. I was looking at different options trying to get a bedroom on the first floor, but I'm trying to stay within the constraints. These are 101 feet long by 43 feet. And when you get a bedroom on the first floor, it kind of blows the whole thing out. So, you know, it starts to become like an architectural issue at that point. But
So to me, I think what is missing in the housing market today are smaller. What is really missing from like after World War II,
yeah, the capes.
every
ranch.
had these little capes that were 1,200 square
They're
feet.
so
or
easy to
1,000
build.
square feet, and they're so easy.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't be constrained by trying to say that somebody's told you that 1,700 feet is the right size.
No, I came up with that number, and you know, the road being 900 feet long, and the septic systems,
Make it
the
short.
site work that has to happen, though the septic system is literally a question mark at this point. So you try to stay real safe on the numbers, you know, because it gets real costly bringing the utilities. The water line is on Sanford Road, so that has to be brought the whole length of it as well. The electric that has to be brought in might have to be some sort of a phase because of the power constraints, because of the energy requirements. So, you know, obviously you guys aren't in the business of increasing regulation. It seems to be, you know, there is a lot that I'm trying to navigate, and it increases costs a lot. You know, just in January, they increased construction costs substantially
No,
due to the R rating, so.
the stub at Sanford Road and,
So there's no water on Sanford Road yet.
Sanford, Sean said there was, there might not be. He might be mistaken.
There's a stub on Route 6 for
Okay.
Sanford Road.
Maybe he's trying
It's
to
not-
get me to bring it.
You're
Oh,
talking to the water guy right here.
yeah, okay, all right.
So-
So we might have to do a well then, but I'll tell Sean about that for sure. Although that is a short stretch of Sanford Road. If you're
It
looking for
is.
a guy to bring it in, it would be
It's-
me.
It's
There's-
probably
there's
easier
a-
to do that.
there's a 12-inch in Route 6 and.
That's
and
more
there's
than
a stub
enough.
at Sanford Road. It may come down a tiny bit on Sanford Road, but I don't think it comes down this far. I had one question, and
Yep.
the frontage for this lot is on Sanford Road. How wide is that frontage?
It's
You know?
32.5 feet,
Okay.
roughly. So it'd be 24, and you guys, you know, if the sidewalk up on the front, there is a sidewalk on Sanford Road, so maybe it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to try to bring it all the way up, but, you know, again, a lot of question marks, right? So if I gotta bring that water line up, that would probably make it a little bit more costly. So, because I would probably be required to bring the size that Sanford Road might need up Sanford Road and then stub off what I need, correct? Yes, so
Right.
I've done that before. And so,
Is there water for the apartments?
Yes,
There is? Does it come up Sanford, or is it?
I think
It
it comes
must.
up there. Maybe it does come up that far, yeah.
So
We'll check for
maybe
sure.
just from the apartments up.
yeah, I'll definitely check. I'm gonna walk out there and probably wherever it's stubbed, I'll see the water cap, to be honest. It's probably right on the road, so
Yep.
I could just walk it and find out for sure.
There's a valve at the end.
Yeah,
Are there any grants available to you for doing this?
That's a good question. I don't know if there are. I don't think that there are. There is another program called EOHLC or something like this. Michael might know the acronym, but you get more grants through that program. I forgot why, but for this program, this building, this setup, after speaking with those individuals initially at the end of last year, this project wasn't viable or not in what they wanted to do. So, I forgot exactly the reasoning, but everyone was pushing me to just do the mass housing anyways, the 40B process.
So I don't know the process at all, so
Okay.
don't mind my stupidity, but I would think that if you said, instead of 25% affordable, I'll do 40% affordable, if you give me a grant to help with the infrastructure.
Yeah, so
And that might actually be better for you financially, but I don't know.
yeah, no, definitely an option to explore. The next step down is 50%, so it's 25% affordable, 75 not, and 50-50. And I think with the 50-50 there might be some options. I didn't explore that too much. I think with their grants there is elaborate. I know a lot of developers who do much larger projects, and they've told me to kind of stay away from it due to timelines, and actual payouts aren't nearly what you would get if you kept within the constraints of the 75-25. You would make more on the market rate versus what you're going to get, that extra 25%. So that's why I kind of didn't dabble too much in it personally. So I know just as much as you as far as that goes.
So what are you budgeting for septic systems?
I think it's about 350,000, 320,000 in that range, which is probably high.
Divide by 12, that's 30 something.
Right.
It's too bad we don't have the sewer coming down to Sanford Road.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna do a much more elaborate project if that were the case. Where does the sewer end?
And
There is no
White's.
sewer.
None at all into Westport, right? It stops at White's?
It's at the
White-
hotel.
Whites in the hotel have a private sewer connection to Fall River. There is a sewer, all designed in the entire length of almost the entire length of Route 6. But the town meeting 2 years ago, or 3 years, this town meeting turned it down.
Last time,
Yeah, I was watching that as well. I had this property then as well. You would have seen 100 units go up.
You could get 100 units on that?
I think it was 15 units per acre. I think I have almost 7.
Oh, for that,
so
for
came
that,
out to
yeah.
99 units I could have put.
If you could fit them, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, any other questions at all or feedback at all? I really appreciate honestly, you guys just taking the time to look at this. I wanted to be upfront about what you guys are going to get notified by. As soon as I file for the PEL letter, you guys get notified and have 30 days for comment. So it's nice to talk with you guys and you see it in advance. I know it's not a huge project, but
I think everything is interesting. So anything's interesting. We just got our housing plan approved yesterday. We just got the letter. And that calls for more housing. And,
yeah, your 2025
We're not
housing
kidding.
update, it's like 180 pages.
right.
Yeah, I read the whole thing. It's elaborate, and it has this on it like 4 times.
Wow. So, you must not have anything else to do.
This is my life, man. I'm a nerd. I love this.
So, we do need housing.
Yes, sir.
And one of these days, we're going to get whacked with South Coast Rail, MBTA adjacent community, which will require zoning like failed.
Right.
And to me, at least the concept, I haven't seen what your real plans are, but it looks good,
Okay,
except for all the comments we get.
of course. I appreciate it. And I think you'll see a lot of that come through, and I think you guys would be happy if you were to go down there and see the culmination of what ends up happening, if everything works out. So you're more than welcome.
So does Michael have your contact information?
Oh, for sure.
I do, yeah, we've been talking regularly.
So I'll try to research what I found about metal roofs.
Please do, yeah.
It's not the standard one, it's something that you get in sheets and.
You know, you're right. I see these houses that don't look like, the build is a super high cost, but they still have metal roofs. And I was curious every time, like you drive through New Hampshire and you see all these metal roofs. I'm like, how are they doing that? My last roof quote for metal was like $100,000 versus $25,000.
Right,
and so I don't understand how they were doing that. So.
That's the standard raised seam one where they come in.
Mm-hmm.
But you can buy panels like 4x8 sheets of plywood that already have this stuff
Mm-hmm.
on it. And it meshes together and you screw it in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, I'll definitely explore that. I think that'd be fantastic. Everything comes in black, so it'll look good.
Right.
So, thank you so much.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next is approval not required, A&R for 15 Briggs Road, file number 25-3150. Request by Joseph Yarrett for endorsement of a 3-lot plan of land located at 15 Briggs Road, Assessor's Map 23, Lot 28.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Alex Karadetsky. I'm representing Mr. Yarrett, and for your consideration is a 15 Briggs Road. It's a little bit over 16 acres parcel, and it's being subdivided into 3 lots. There is a existing house on this lot, and one brick-faced garage and one small barn. So the site will be subdivided into 3 parcels. One parcel that houses the building. The main house will be about 6 acres, a little bit over 6 acres, and the 2 other lots will be a little bit under 5 acres. The wetland line has been flagged, and so there is sufficient 2, 3, and 4 acres, I believe 4 acres of approximately of uplands, and that's pretty much it. So it's
You said there's an existing house.
right here, yeah, 15 Briggs Road.
This is the lot with the big gateway?
This is a big long brick-faced house on the bricks road with nice brick entranceway, 2 brick entranceways. So one brick entranceway will serve this one, the other one will serve smaller entranceway. So this lot and this will be a separate driveway.
What was the historic, I've always been interested in going driving by and saying, somebody had a very grand idea to build this house in that location.
Mr. Joseph, Mr. Yarrett, Tony Yarrett, who I knew, he passed away, I knew him very well, was a person of means, and he had actually an inside pool in this house.
Yeah, down in the basement.
No, not in the basement, on the first,
Oh.
in this wing, there was,
Oh.
not anymore, but
Yeah.
there was a swimming pool there.
So it was built about what year, do you know? In the 20s?
End of 70s,
70s, so that's,
I would think so.
anyway,
I would guess end of
I thought it was older,
maybe 72, 73. This land was developed by a local developer, Mr. William Ferreira, and that's what it was.
Okay, I've always been curious about that lot myself. I drove
There will
by.
be three houses. They people are not greedy. They want have a nice property, nice welcoming lots, and
They had
that's-
horses there too, didn't they?
I don't. Maybe it's maybe in a barn, probably in a barn, and as a interesting piece of trivia, there is a trailer that has a very nice 1956 Oldsmobile in it. And for whatever reason, lots of cast iron bathtubs. Whatever that means.
Cast iron, what?
Bathtubs,
Oh, bathtubs.
yes. But that's what it is.
Everybody needs one.
I don't know. But that's all. Oldsmobile looks nice.
So he was spread out. He has the garage on one lot, and the barn on another
Yes.
lot, and the house on
Barn
another.
will be probably demolished and replaced with a house because there was a perk test done behind the barn.
Yeah.
And it's not a great shape. Garage is it's a nice building. I don't know what's going. They have no plans for the garage at this moment. It's nice brick-faced, large building.
Do you want a motion, Mr. Chair?
I do, just one comment, that you don't have a locus on your map.
Yeah, no, there is.
The upper corner?
I don't see it. I mean, I see the place we're supposed to be.
Here it is.
There is one.
Oh, this?
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
it's on the paper plan.
okay, I see.
There it is.
Very good.
Okay, I entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to endorse the approval not required plan file number 25-3150 for 15 Briggs Road, Westport, Mass, prepared for Joseph Yarrett as it complies with the requirements of Mass General Laws, Chapter 41, Section 81P.
Second.
Any comments, questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next is approval not required, A&R for 28 Cahoons Lane, file number 26-3248. Request by Steve Joseph for endorsement of a land swap located on Cahoons Lane, Assessor's Map 2, Lot 10, 11, and 13.
Good evening. For the record, Steve Gioso with SciTech, representing the owner this evening. Brendan is here, the owner and the applicant for this particular project. This is three separate parcels of land located off of Cahoons Lane, and Brendan currently owns the main parcel here, this large tract of land spanning across here. Mostly farm agricultural land is currently used for. The lot, we did title research, goes back to the early 1900s, has been a landlocked parcel with deeded rights of access to the property, but no frontage on Cahoons Lane. So Brendan approached two of his neighbors, the owners who have this parcel adjacent to his lot, right alongside his parcel, with frontage heading away from Cahoons Lane. And then the homeowner who has a house here adjacent, right on Cahoons Lane. They had sufficient frontage to be able to deed a parcel of land to Brendan to facilitate the start of access to his property. And then the landowner adjacent to him also agreed that they would be able to create a separate parcel that would then complete the physical access, or the ability to have physical access to the property, tying the new frontage, which would be located here, which would comply with zoning, bring the parcel in here, and then in exchange, Brendan would deed a narrow strip of land to the landowner here. So we have a little summary on how the lots change, and what you'll see is this landowner and Brendan end up swapping within a couple of square feet land area. So the parcel here goes from Brendan to this landowner. The next strip of land, which starts here and goes to here, would go from the adjacent landowner and be incorporated into Brendan's lot. And then finally in the front, there'd be this little L-shaped piece that would be deeded out of the house lot here, provide the required 150 feet of frontage on Cahoon's Lane. They would be left with sufficient frontage to still be considered a buildable lot. It'll have, I think, 200 feet of frontage thereabouts. And again, that's all summarized in the table on the plan. So in the end, you've got, and I think this ties into Mr. Bullett's comment earlier on the 40B project, neighbors learning about each other's plights and working together. The three neighbors were able to work out something that accommodated Brendan's need to get physical frontage to his property, and at the same time not diminish the adjacent lots below the required zoning. So you essentially have an equal land swap here and here, and then a deeding of a parcel. The remaining area and frontage for this lot exceed the zoning requirements. So it's really no new lots being created. There are 3 lots involved in this transaction now, and when we're done, there will still only be 3 lots for this parcel. So it's really just an accommodation of neighbors to get this legal frontage, and we're looking to be able to move forward with Brendan's plans for the property.
So planners, please give us your opinions here.
Sure. So, yep, this is all upland res ag. This proposal to convey approximately 14.5 thousand square feet of land from lot 1 to lot 3, 14.3 thousand square feet of land from lot 3 to lot 1, that equivalent exchange Mr. Gioso was talking about, and about 13.4 square feet of land from lot 2 to lot 1 to create that access path, or to finalize that access path and provide adequate frontage for lot 1 on Cahoon's Lane, which Cahoon's Lane, also known as Driftway or Proprietor's Way, is shown on a plan of land belonging to Joseph A. Picard from April 28, 1919, and found in the Bristol County Registry of Deeds. So both of those 2 parcels front on Cahoon's Lane, with that back parcel fronting on Blossom Road, also a public way, or which is a public way, pardon. When thinking about frontage, after the conveyance, lot 1 will have 150 feet of frontage on Cahoon's Lane. Lot 2 remains in compliance with over 150 feet of frontage. And then lot 3, that back parcel, fronts on Blossom Road, but the length does not meet frontage requirements at 129. Lot 3 is already developed with a single family home, and the degree of nonconformity doesn't increase with this proposal. The ways do have sufficient width, suitable grades, and adequate construction to provide for the needs of vehicular traffic in relation to the proposed use, and the lots meet the intensity requirements, so you do find that it meets the criteria for an A&R endorsement, and recommend that the planning board endorse the plan.
So if we approve these land swaps, are we opining that lot 1 has sufficient frontage for building?
For both, which one? For 1 and?
1, lot 1, the big one.
Yep.
Are we saying that it has enough frontage, legal frontage, and access, including the 50-foot circle that has to go from the frontage to the main part of the house, where the house is?
It's ultimately the building inspector who would make the determination as to whether or not it has adequate frontage on Cahoon's Lane.
Right.
I would contend that it does, but that would be determined at the time of requesting a building permit.
And I assume that this created link to Cahoon's Lane is 50 feet wide?
Yes.
That's correct, yes.
I'm trying to reconcile this plan with the aerial view that's on here, and the arrows pointing to the site, the big lot 1, and the driveway access. I don't know why, to me,
Yeah, the driveway access to lot 1 at the present time comes in over at this
Oh,
corner here,
That's
the
what the
opposite
arrow
corner.
here is pointing to.
Right.
It's not pointing to where the new access would be.
Yeah, there is, the driveway for this house is
Yeah.
here, and then this is what we'd be creating for legal frontage and the 50-foot strip tying the lots together. The physical access to this lot at the present time comes through a deeded right of access on the opposite end of the property. So there's deeded right of access, and this is gonna then create legal frontage for the lot. So in the end, the two lots that are being impacted for frontage, what's gonna become lot 2 and what's gonna become lot 1, will both have at least 150 feet of frontage on Cahoon's Lane, meeting the current standards. And I think as Mr. Burris indicated, the ultimate decision on buildability falls to the building commissioner, and the applicant did speak with him prior to initiating this proposed land swap.
So do the applicant have the ability to use both, the deeded access on the west side and this?
Yeah, we're not giving up our rights of access on this end here, so that would remain as a potential point of access for the property. But this would also open this up as a potential point of access to the property, although we have not developed a plan to provide access from there at this point.
So is this currently this big lot under agricultural easement?
Is it under a agricultural restriction at the present time, your land? No.
It is not 60 way.
No, not at the moment.
Mr. Chair, I don't have any objections. Mr. Giosa said it's 3 lots and it's gonna be 3 lots in the future, but I think lot 1 is not a buildable lot, so what we're doing is creating it as a buildable lot. Is that?
It would create, it would make the argument, we would argue that it's a grandfathered lot. It goes back to the early 1900s. It has not been held in common ownership. But instead of fighting that fight, this is a way of addressing that issue without fighting the fight on the grandfathered rights.
I don't have a problem with it. When you want a motion, I'll make it.
But the aerial view shows buildings on that lot.
No, I
There's-
think
That's the north.
There's a barn on the property. Yeah, it's agricultural land at the moment. It's used as an agricultural land. There's a barn that serves that agricultural
Can you
use.
bring up the?
I don't have it on here.
Oh, okay.
I think the orientation of that map was flipped around from a north view, so
No, I know
I
that.
think that's the reason why you're having a little bit of confusion reading it.
Because, yeah, the aerial view sort of shows a building or maybe a couple of other, I don't know what they are, but,
But I think lot 1 is the green lot, not the
So
tan one.
what is confusing is this red arrow here. What is that referring to?
That's the subject parcel.
That's lot 1?
Yeah.
But it's already got something on it.
and the
Yeah,
driveway-
it's an agricultural structure that's
and
on the
the
property now.
driveway's superimposed on it. Is it just a dirt road or something?
Yeah,
So that's from the deeded access.
correct.
So it's, who said it's not buildable? We don't know. Why wouldn't it be buildable?
If that's an ancient way, it should be buildable.
Again, we
But
It's gonna have 150 feet of footage after this swap, but it doesn't have it now.
right.
Oh, currently, yeah, great.
So all this stuff is going, if you're looking at these aerial, it's going at the top of this lot,
Yeah.
not at the bottom of the lot
Right.
where the other arrow is.
Right.
Well, the arrows that deeded access that they already
Okay.
have.
So what's on there now? It looks like a house and a barn.
No, there's no house on the property. It's a barn.
When the owner's here, you can tell us what's on the property.
it looks like there's a real driveway going from Cahoon's Lane all the way to the middle of this lot already.
Correct. That's the access to the agricultural land at the moment, yes.
I see.
Yep.
Okay,
Want a motion, Mr. Chair?
sure.
I move to endorse the approval not required plan file number 26-3248 for 28 Cahoon's Lane, Westport, Mass, prepared for Brendan Lord, as the plan does not require subdivision approval under Mass General Law, Chapter 41, Section 8.
Second?
Any questions, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay, next is Corey Ridge Estates, file number 23-035C, endorsed Mylar.
Yep, so this is just back before us. Originally, when they went to record the Mylar with the registry, the registry noticed that the sheet said 1 of 6, and they wouldn't accept it. So now the Mylar says sheet 1 of 1, and we'll just have y'all endorse it after the meeting, if that's okay. They have a pre-construction meeting this Thursday, this Friday, 1/16, and the HOA document is currently under review of the town council. So.
Okay.
Want a motion?
Do we need a motion?
No, we just need
Just gonna-
you all to hang around after the meeting to sign the
I'll
Mylar.
endorse it as we're leaving. So, okay, next is Francis Estates, file number 24-37C-SPA-LID. Cemetery signage approved by the planning board.
Yeah, per the conditions of approval for this development, Francis Estates, the cemetery signage should be approved by the planning office. So we connected the Attorney Gomes with Betty Slade, and they have connected on signage and have selected Jeremiah Duvall Family Cemetery as the name. And so I just included the email correspondence as a printout.
Okay, we don't have a picture of that.
He has, no picture yet, but he has some kind of like mock-ups.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I can ask for an update for that too. Yep.
So
Okay.
of the various names, what's it going to be called? Jeremiah Duvall Burial Ground?
Jeremiah Duvall Family Cemetery.
Jeremiah Duvall Family Cemetery. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, do we need a motion for that?
No.
Okay. Okay, next is planners report, Barrier Beach Management Plan update.
Yeah, the draft Barrier Beach Management Plan is available for viewing on the town's website, as well as I printed off a copy of all 400 some pages of it.
Thank you.
So you can,
Lay these down on the beach, it'll keep the sand there.
oh, there you go, yeah. So anyway, you can check out, it's very detailed. Woods Hole Group has a series of recommendations in there, as well as some analyses that they had prepared that you all saw them present at a previous public meeting on beach nourishment on the town's barrier beaches. So it's a very detailed plan. I would recommend in the table of contents at least checking out the section that outlines policy recommendations to the town. This is just a draft, so we're going to be doing more public engagement on this in the future, as well as having further discussions with the select board, who will ultimately, we're hoping, adopt the plan, which will then be submitted to DEP for permitting. So this is being funded by Coastal Zone Management, and we have to start wrapping up the grant at the end of the fiscal year. So we'll be,
By June.
yes, we'll be doing this, yeah, through June 30th. So it'll be a,
So I haven't gotten to read the 400 pages since you put it here an hour ago. And I went to one of the hearings on one of the sections under study where there was a recommendation for beach renourishment that had an estimated cost, if I remember correctly, something like 16 million. Is that, and that's just one of the 3 study areas, so presumably if it was a similar recommendation for the other, then you're talking about 16 million times 3, 48 million.
It would actually be less for some of the other barrier beaches because what you're referring to is for East Beach.
Right.
And East Beach
So,
requires a
my
lot of
question
cobble
is
to
that
bring.
That's still a lot of money for beach renourishment. Is that what we're going forward with permitting?
No. So the plan that analysis is actually an appendix to the plan. So it's not recommending that the town pursue that option. It's just something that's been discussed very heavily and recommended from various stakeholder groups that the town should pursue beach nourishment on those beaches. But we've never really had a handle on what those costs would actually be. So that's why we did that analysis, was to establish not only the costs, but also if the town were to pursue grant funding, what kind of parameters would we receive grant funds under? And an important caveat with getting grant funds is that you have to provide public access to the nourished portions of the beaches.
I think the report is very well done technically and everything, but that analysis was strictly a piece of analysis. Someone asked the question, what would it cost to do beach nourishment along East Beach? $16 million. That's answer that question. Who does it? How does it get done? How long does it last? What's the economic value of doing that? Those questions are unasked and unanswered. And one of the big questions is this public money spent on private property? Because most of that would be, the town owns some of the lots at the very far end, but most of those lots are privately owned.
Yeah, I was at some of these meetings, especially the one on Atlantic Avenue, and we discussed a wide range of the things, and part of beach nourishment, it can be this much or this much.
Yeah.
And so it, really depends on what you mean by beach nourishment. It doesn't have one meaning.
So in the analysis that Woods Hole group did, the assumption is based around having enough material on the beaches to protect against a 10-year storm, which is a pretty, in terms of talking about floodplain management, is a pretty low impact storm that could happen in any 10-year. I mean, it could happen successive years, but
chance of happening every single year.
Precisely, and so they use that as kind of just to set the precedent for talking about the cost, that a 10-year sacrificial strategy, because that's what beach nourishment is it's a sacrificial strategy to try to temporarily hold the line in place against sea level rise, coastal erosion, all those things. That's what it would cost to put that sacrificial strategy in place.
And so, what they explained to me was, for instance, on Atlantic Avenue Beach, if they were going to do beach nourishment, it wouldn't be bringing sand and putting it on the beach. They'd be putting it in the ocean to take the shoreline oceanward. And I think the Atlantic Avenue one was like, I don't know, 5,000 or 10,000 dump trucks worth of sand.
Right.
And I think that East Beach would be similar if we did that. And not only do you have to worry about paying for that, you got to pay for the upkeep of the road that you're ruining with 10,000 truckloads of sand. Plus, if you do it on East Beach, on these private property, you'd have to have every single homeowner agree. And then they'd have, if it's done with public money, they'd have to agree to allow public access on that property. So, when I'm sick in bed, I'll read this. It's a lot.
It is a lot, but check out the. I mean, because a lot of it there's stuff about grain size analysis and kind of nitty gritty nerdy stuff that. That's why we love our friends at Woods Hole Group, because they do all that for us. But again, check out the recommendations portion of it. That's what we're really trying to solicit feedback on right now.
In my professional life, I have done a number of permitting for private beach nourishment and waterfront homes that were in dynamic areas. And the one thing I've learned and became a standard part of my recommendations is, when do you plan to be back in the house? And we'll do the beach nourishment just before you arrive, so at least one season you have a little sand in front of your home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, my family just returned from vacationing on Catiba Island in southwest Florida, which is just north of Sanibel Island. And Catiba and Sanibel both have had all of their beaches renourished in the last year since Hurricane Ian. Now, they are an average height above sea level of 4 feet, and Hurricane Ian was 12 feet. There are parts of these islands that 3 years later still not rebuilt. But they just get a vacuum tube out in the Gulf of Mexico and suck it and then pour it on the beach. And they do this regularly. And they added this time a wrinkle, which was a 12-foot artificial sand dune, because the storm surge was 12 feet, and they planted beach grass and hoping it will take. 2 points. One, I think the state or federal government pays for it because it's such a huge cost that individuals couldn't. And you also need to do the whole island, otherwise you're leaving openings. And I think the state justifies it because it is tourist development in a state where that is a huge deal. These berms, this beach renourishment and new sand dune go in front of private property and public property, and I don't think there is any rule that says just because the public paid for it, you get to walk on it. It's still private property. But Florida is different than Massachusetts. My major point is that it's done, as Bob says, and it provides some protection, but the amount of money is so enormous that there's no way in the world that it gets done unless it's a national priority or a state priority.
So are we talking about protecting private property along East Beach Road?
Hypothetically, yes, that's what the analysis
How far
presented.
out do those lots own from, into the water now? Because so much of the beach has been eroded, but they don't go out, right? Does
I think
terminus of where your property stops.
some of them have lost maybe 60 or 80 feet over the years, but not when they bought them, but
So
They own at least to the low water line.
yeah, it's the low water line. Some of those lots extend further than the low water line, but the property is essentially lost because there's no land there anymore.
That's right. And
So if you were to renourish out to that point, that would not become private property again. That would be
You lose and gain by the natural processes on the shore.
right.
but I thought you don't gain. I mean, because
If you had an area where the material was depositing and your land gained, you gained that land.
I thought I read in the, somewhere about the Massachusetts shoreline is if you lose it, you lose it. When it comes back, it's not yours, it's the state's.
What we found 3 or 4 years ago when we were down in Captiva after a beach renourishment is while we're there, a big storm came and took half the beach away.
Yep.
And then over the next, no, it doesn't destroy the sand, it just moves the sand a little bit offshore.
It's somewhere, right.
And over the next week, all that sand reappeared on the beach. In a dynamic area, you're going to get ebbs and flows. But when you add sand, it's added sand that's in the system now.
Yeah, so, I mean, along Horse Neck, the sand is either in the sandbars offshore or in the
Right.
dunes or in the harbor.
In the harbor, right, the channel.
So it doesn't disappear. But anyway, one of the things they said at the meeting at the Atlantic Avenue was that they talked about, I forget where it was in Massachusetts, a bunch of private people spent a lot of money to renourish their beach, and it disappeared within 2 weeks.
Yeah,
And they
$650,000 worth.
Right, but they said it did its job. It prevented more erosion further inland.
Right, and that's what
Right.
the example that they used
Yeah.
very often in the first part of, or the first iteration of our public engagement was that it's a sacrificial strategy. That's what the sand was put there to do.
Yeah.
So are we trying to preserve the roadway along East Beach Road as an example?
Yeah, I
Is
think
that the public way that we're trying to preserve?
I think an end goal of this project is to come up with recommendations to help slow the rate of erosion to protect public resources. But we also have to acknowledge that, you know, this is an area that gets hit hard by storms very frequently, and there will come a day when, you know, that where it may become too expensive for the town to continue to replace the road. The water could break into the let, and then what happens with trying to rebuild that? So there's a lot of different. The point is, it's a very vulnerable place, and we're not going to be able to fortify it forever.
Which brings up, if you're talking about a sacrificial plan that costs in the order of $50 or whatever $1 million, and that doesn't last very long, that another option, which nobody ever wants to talk about, including me, as I live down there, is managed retreat, which is, those are barrier beaches. And they can act like barrier beaches, but it's hard to act like a barrier beach if it's got houses on it or any other structures on it. But if it's a barrier beach, then it'll move and it'll protect Westport. But right now, there's a lot of homes and businesses on that barrier beach. So, but if you're talking about a solution that's $50 or $60 million, then you have to talk about, well, that could also be a hefty chunk of a managed retreat program, which we did after the '38 hurricane. It's not something new for Westport.
It's not a recommendation in the report that the town undertake this. This was just, if one were to do it, this is the order of magnitude cost that you'd be exposed to.
Right.
Right, it's supposed to educate us on what the options are.
Right.
And I think it's doing a great job of doing that. It's never going to say you should retreat or it's not worth it. That isn't what they're supposed to do.
It also sets out requirements of how to manage material in those places and what are the town's obligations for rare or endangered species that may be on the beach. So it's not just all about long-range planning. It also spells out what are the town's obligations for day-to-day maintenance.
Yep. And I think what John was talking about, if it's going to cost $60 million to protect the road that's worth a few $100,000, does that make any sense?
Mhm.
So on Atlantic Avenue, they have been using a beach management plan that the local engineer drew up for them, and they have moved a lot of the sand and the crap that was left over 2 years ago from the thing and pushed it up into the dune area. So it's creating a new dune. And they've planted like 20 or 30,000 strands of beach grass in them, and I helped do that in November a little bit. Interesting, but you get a crick in your back leaning over is too much. But it's interesting that there's a huge market for beach grass.
Mhm,
And they have to wait, and an order comes, and they have to go plant it right away. That looks like it will be more resilient than it ever has been. But I don't know what that area looked like before they put houses 150 years ago.
Mhm.
Were there dunes there? Did they take them down? Was it open to the ocean? Was that pond flooded?
I don't know.
A long time ago it was.
Yeah.
So, anyway, thank you. Next.
Quick update on our village center plan. We're in contract with the state on this, so I'm waiting on Serped to come back and contract on that. But these are just as a reminder, these are this is looking at Westport's historic village centers to come up with some context appropriate zoning, whether it be for housing or for commercial businesses. In a lot of places, commercial businesses have to get a zoning variance to make modifications to the property.
Mm-hmm.
They're valued areas, valued community assets, and so we want to make sure that those places can have make it so that the zoning is not the barrier for them to be able to continue to stay in those places and succeed. And then also, the town has a two-size-fits-all approach to zoning. The residential and agriculture district and the business district. And the business district in Central Village is the same as the business district on Route 6. And so this will help hopefully come up with some more context-sensitive zoning for Central Village. So, and then, yeah, so that way there's not the same sort of land uses where you see like contractors' yards on Route 6,
Right.
which wouldn't really be appropriate in Central Village.
Mhm.
But anyway,
You
that's
don't think
the
car
project.
lots would work in Central Village?
I mean, it's zoned for that, so
Right.
yeah. But this sets out to address those issues. So that's what the project is. We're waiting to get under contract with Serped, and then we'll start the public engagement for that.
Just, Michael, this map here that shows, I don't know, is this meant to show the boundaries of Central Village, or because the actual business district extends south beyond Hicksbridge Road?
Yeah, it's meant, we initially kept it smaller scale for the grant application. We can modify things a bit. So if the board would like to see that the recommendations are extended, or that the project expands to the entire business district on Main Road, we can do that. We kept it purely just the historic area of Main Road in the business district.
Yeah, okay. I didn't know whether they were trying to follow the business district first, as it's constructed, or just
Right.
what you said.
We can do that. Yeah.
So we tried to, several years ago, start a conversation about redoing the village zoning here.
Mm-hmm.
And we had pushback from one very influential resident who didn't want it to disappear from Hicksbridge Road down to Cornell Road.
Okay.
But I don't know if you'd have the same problem today.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well, and whatever, even if it's not included in this project, you can always take the recommendations of what would come from the historic Central Village and apply that to another part of town.
Sure.
So we could always carry that forward, even if it's not a part of this project.
Okay.
Are you guys taking any comment on that?
Sure.
Sure.
It's not
Yeah,
a
I mean, we're
process.
gonna have public meetings and stuff, so yeah.
It's not a public hearing, but
Yeah, we just, we lit up at.
could you go to
Oh,
the
sure.
podium and identify who you are for the TV audience?
Lori Ann at 513 Old County Road. So I think I'm very excited about this idea of these areas. There's interest in extending the business district at the head, some people having art galleries, things like that. It's a very thriving neighborhood, and we all work together a lot. We have dinner parties, all this, and to help back that up. I'm sure you guys all know about the condition of the road there and the bridge and and all the sewer drains are all caving in, and so in this drive to kind of have these areas in town that people love to look at them, maybe they'll slow down a bit to actually look at them if it's a district that encourages some businesses and does some speed taming and all that. That would be great. And we don't know, since we both live there, we like, if you want to have some community involvement, we're more than happy to kind of lead the way with our neighbors.
Sure.
Great,
Super.
yeah.
That's
Okay.
exactly what we
Yeah,
want.
once we start advertising for it, reach out to me. I mean,
Yeah.
you can email me or call me anytime and
You
we
got
can
it.
chat about it, so.
Okay, guys.
Okay.
Sorry you had to stay all night just for that, but.
We stay all-
Who was it worth
Well,
it?
it's always interesting to watch what goes on.
All right, good.
Thanks, guys.
Very quick update on our Route 6 neighborhood plan update. I think there will be an article in the Shorelines about it this week. I took some time to chat with Ted Hayes about the project. So he didn't say when it was going to be updated, maybe this week or when it would be put in the paper, maybe this week or next week. But it's going to have a link to the survey that we're trying to collect feedback on. And so if you all know anyone you'd like to take the survey, please send it to them because we need to get some responses in. I'd like to have as many people as we can respond to the survey. But that's all I have for that. We're kind of regrouping after the holidays and the public meeting that we had last month that we talked about at the last meeting.
I thought that public meeting was really well done. I thought the graphics were exceptional in terms of how to elicit from people. It would have been nicer if there was a bigger crowd, but the graphics allowed you to understand what the choices are.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a hard thing to do, and I thought it was done really well.
They did do a really great job with the posters and graphics and stuff. And speaking of, the posters are in the library right now, so the sticker thing that we did, and they were up here in the annex, you can do that at the library, and then we're going to put them in the town hall next month. So still can get involved that way as well if you don't want to do a survey.
How about the COA?
We can ask them.
Yeah, I think it's full of people who are, have nothing else to do.
And we've been,
TV,
I know. But it's interesting. We'd like their input. So.
I agree, it was a very good presentation. It's just, the turnout was a little disappointing that more people didn't come.
it was a very
It
cold
was an
night.
excellent presentation.
My wife was at a meeting, I think it was last Saturday, it was at the library.
Mm-hmm.
And there were 40 or 50 people at that meeting, and people stopped and they put red dots on the things they liked.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we had some folks from Serpent at the library on Saturday.
yeah.
Yeah.
Ah,
So it's getting some exposure.
Mhm. All right. So next is an update on our Eco One-Stop submissions. This is the state's new environmental grant portal, is what they're calling the Eco One-Stop. And we had submitted 4 applications to this. The first one we had submitted was for evacuation signage in town, identifying evacuation routes, and they were a little tepid on the project concept. But it's not all bad news, because I did reach out to SERPED to see what they're doing in this space. They did prepare a regional evacuation plan, and they are going to follow that up with acquiring signage to install on those routes. So the routes that are identified in that study are just the main arterials in Westport: Route 88, 195, and 177. The signs they'll be acquiring and then providing them to Public Works or highway departments to install them. So I spoke with Kevin Ham, the SERPED, the head of the SERPED's Homeland Security, and does emergency management and stuff like that, and asked.
And there's the drone guy.
He's also the drone guy. Yeah, he wears a lot of hats over there. I asked him about if they would be interested in doing that same sort of analysis for coastal towns and identifying those evacuation routes on local roads to get to those arterials. And he said he's going to bring that up with the head of the transportation department at SERPED. He said that they could probably work it into their annual work plan for next year if that's something other towns would support. So I think there's we can potentially make some progress on that outside of the grant funding cycle.
Did the state say why they weren't enthusiastic about signs? It seems to be one of the highest benefit to cost ratios you can get for a project. You just find signs, you're educating all the population. Why didn't they like that?
I think it's a question of priority and how they want to measure outcomes. It's harder to have a measurable outcome when you're installing signs. I mean, I understand if there's a hazard event occurring, you can maybe measure it in terms of people who may not have been injured in that event, but in terms of like daily measurable outcomes, I think you have so many parts per million of nitrogen not going into the river, for example.
Yeah.
Like that's a measurable outcome. So
which group that you're looking for a grant for that purpose that was kind of tepid?
well, it's a full suite of different programs. So I only talked to, the most feedback I got was from the MVP program. The other funders didn't really have much to say about it. So, but we have another avenue potentially. So,
Good.
then the head of Westport, looking at doing an analysis of the head of Westport to improve its floodwater mitigation capacity, as well as doing some stormwater improvements so that stormwater is not discharging untreated into the Westport River. That's something that Woods Hole Group was on the call to talk about a different project, but they were very interested in helping out with that application. So we'll see what that looks like. I would like for them to prepare a quote for that project and a scope of work. I think that's probably where the application really needed some improvement, because we were like 1 or 2 points within getting funding. So I think if we have that included again, we should have a competitive application. They said this one out of the 4 that we had submitted was the most competitive. So we'll give it another shot.
Do we know if the constructed wetlands that was constructed 15 years ago is still doing its job there at the head of Westport?
That's something that we're going to follow up with before we submit an application, is to start investigating the success of that project.
It certainly looks healthy. It looks like it's doing its job.
It does. What I'm more interested in is where is it getting the water from, and is that structure still working in the road? I think the wetland thing is neat.
I think we would also really be focusing on the west side of the bridge as opposed to the east side of the bridge. There's that area in the triangle green where that water bubbles up that you've pointed out to us in the past. It's a hole in the ground where when there's heavy rains, water comes up and spills out into the green. Nobody seems to know where the source of that water is coming from. So that's one thing we would like to address. And then there's a lot of town-owned property right along the banks that if you were to have a constructed wetlands on that side of the river, there's there's space to do something like that.
So do we know whether or not the school stormwater systems that we worked hard on getting approved and implemented, are they still working correctly? That's the question, because maybe that's where the water's coming from.
I don't know if you have the answer to that question.
It could be that where the water eventually ends up, if it spills out, is into a system that's already in the road.
Mm-hmm.
And that might have a diversion that goes that way as well as to the
Right.
river.
Right.
And it might go to the river two different ways, and that one might be blocked up and it comes out of it.
Yeah, it could be. We actually have another grant application out for our MS4 permit, and that's one area we would like to kind of tie into this project, is it doing further investigations of the municipal storm sewer. So different layers to it, but yeah, I think you make a good point that we need to look into that further.
It may be that.
Then there's the cold water culverts that I've been talking about for probably like 2 years now on Drift Road, Lions Brook, and Snell Creek, and Cornell Road at Angeline Brook. So doing looking at reconstructing those culverts and continuing the engineering work that we've received several different grants for. We were advised that we should probably look at the Snell Creek and Lions Brook options, so we wouldn't be able to apply. You can only submit one application. You can't apply for many different locations. So we would probably look at the Drift Road ones, and this would not bring it through to construction. They're smaller grants, so would just be for engineering, continuing the engineering. And then do you want to talk about the Barrier Beach one, Dia?
Yeah, so the Barrier Beach one, we were going to try and continue any kind of procedures from the draft Barrier Beach management plan. So I put together kind of I wasn't really sure. I put together a scope of work that kind of bounced around, and so we got a lot of feedback on that, which pretty much was like, let's test out of the window and kind of rescope. So Wiz Holt's group is going to help me put together an application that's more in alignment, that's going to be more competitive for MVP and climate resilience grant through Eco One Stop. They said that they wouldn't fund like collecting data on beach transects or mean high water levels. They also wouldn't consider, they wouldn't really consider, one aspect was like kind of a volunteer brigade for collecting that data, and also maybe pre-storm procedures like securing fencing or maybe post-storm debris cleanup, and they said that that would also be probably not likely to receive funding. So we're kind of reorganizing what kind of small beach actions, maybe pre-storm actions, how can we put together an EOI that's in alignment for funding and with our capacity here. And with that expression of interest, we also asked for a drone, and they didn't give comment on the financial ask for the drone, at least not to my memory. I don't know if you recall. They didn't touch the drone comment.
No, they
probably
didn't.
But probably no, because they don't want us tracking the transects, I guess.
But so what Woods Whole Group is thinking about doing is taking some of the recommendations of the beach management plan and starting to implement some of those recommendations. So one thing that we had considered is like asking them to if we can start to develop a stockpile of compatible materials, whether it be cobble or sand that we can store at the highway department, and then when there's a need to go down to particularly on East Beach Road to fortify the road, we can take the materials from the highway department and bring it down there.
They've already been approved.
Right, that's already been pre-approved. So things are, looking at where are starting to develop a policy of where the pain points are that we would start to do managed retreat. Would it be certainly like if water broke through to the let and there's a channel, I think that would be a clear time of, that we're not going to be able to rebuild. But what's the in between? When do we maybe consider downgrading a section of Beach Avenue, for example? Is there a point where we should do that?
Yeah. So Buzzards Bay had a big, long study. I don't know if they're done yet, John.
I don't think they are. They're done with Westport Park,
Okay.
but not with the Allen's Pond and
Which is all connected.
Slocum's, yeah.
It's all connected.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking, the Watershed Alliance has been doing a lot, getting a lot of data. Mike Sullivan has been putting tide gauges everywhere. And I think that might be a place for you to connect the two groups together to get the information that may be required that your grant people don't want to pay for. We might already have it.
Okay.
Or have the ability to get it if we can delineate what it is we need. And I would hope that with this and with Buzzards Bay, that somehow we can get somebody to look at them both as a whole and give us an idea of what, because if their report is going to say that the way that the waves come in to Goosewing Island or beach or Goosewing, not Goosewing, Gooseberry, is what's causing it. Whatever we do isn't going to change that, unless we blow it up or something. But
Right.
It would seem to me that we should take the available information we have and have somebody try to put it together so that we can make informed decisions about, really, we need to start looking for a source for retreating, or we need to look for funds to replenish.
Right.
And all the dredged material that came out of the harbor was put over at the crook between almost up to the causeway. And I don't know what's happened with that in the past year. Has that started to re-nourish the beach along Horseneck?
That's what I've heard, is that it's washing up onto Horseneck and probably will end up washing back into the river.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
Was that dredge material deposited on the west side of Gooseberry?
Yes, it was.
Up sort of where the campground is?
Yep.
And those houses, like right in front of not on the beach, just in the ocean. And I talked with the beach people, and they said that they had, the woman from Coastal Zone Management, said that they'd looked at the stuff, and it was not the right grain size to put on the beach nourishment. So I don't know how good it was to put it in the ocean. But
It'll find its way onto the beach.
yeah.
or back into the channel.
Yeah, exactly. And then last update is our hazard mitigation plan. That was formally submitted to MEMA and FEMA. So that'll probably be about a 3-month time period before they make a decision. So I'll let you all know.
If that gets approved, won't that help us get funding from somebody for the escape routes? Because they talk about it in that.
It could as an emergency, one of their emergency management grants. And actually, that was one of the things that was brought up in our meeting too. Are there more appropriate grant funds for this type of request through emergency management?
Mr. Chair, if the planner's report is complete before going to the minutes, could I make a comment? Michael circulated a draft annual report for the planning board, and I just can't express what a superlative document that is. From what our charge is from the law to what we have accomplished over the last year. I was thinking about it yesterday. I was at a meeting trying to recruit people to run for planning board as our Mark Schmidt doesn't have enough fun here with us, so he's not going to run. Not to put any pressure on you, Mark, but somebody said, who I was talking to, said, well, what does the planning board do? And I thought about the document you guys have prepared, and what an excellent answer that is to what do we do? And it's a great question that, you know, every citizen in Westport should have. And so I know you're getting some comments on it before final submission, but I hope that finds a way onto our website and in other ways we make it easy to circulate, because it's such a great description of what does the planning board do. I really congratulate John.
Thanks.
Not just on the way you wrote it, but you had to do an awful lot of hard work to get all those things done that are in the report. And so the performance of this department is just really incredible.
Thank you.
I get to see in my professional life lots of annual reports from town clerks and planning boards and stuff, and that report is as best as I've seen, including, you know, Cambridge and Boston, and you know, I mean, this is really a terrific job.
Thank you.
Yeah, I quite agree with that. And as a footnote to the recruitment issue, I was informed by the chairman that I was supposed to find my own replacement. To which I replied, that'll be easy.
And what happens when you don't?
You have to say.
Public.
You have to say.
I'm going to move out of town.
So what happens is if we have nobody, then we go to the select board and we have a joint meeting. You've done that before. That's how you got on the planning board. But we just reappointed you.
No, I had to run for that unexpired term.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Chair, you want to get to the minutes?
No, I want to say that I agree with everybody that has said good things about this report. And I just want to say I think the report is great, but I think doing the work was even better for all three of you.
Absolutely.
So thank you. So now I entertain.
Mr. Chair, I attended the minutes of the first meeting on our agenda, December 16th, and I find the minutes as usual really good, so I would move approval of the December 16th, 2025 meeting.
I second that.
Any comments, changes, anything? Hearing nothing? All those in favor?
Aye.
I didn't attend the next meeting, so I should make a
Mr.
motion.
Chair, I would move the minutes, adoption of the minutes of the meeting on December 30th. It was brief and to the point, and we and I find the minutes reflect what we did that morning.
Are you noting a correlation between my absence and it being brief?
No, not at all.
Mark, you want to second that?
Well, I wasn't at the meeting.
Oh, then I'll second it. So, I guess we're gonna have to approve it as a ministerial thing.
You can all vote on minutes even though you
That's what
weren't
I'm
in
saying.
attendance, yeah.
It's pretty simple. It was a record for the shortest meeting ever. That's 6 minutes.
Yes.
So, all those in favor?
Aye.
And correspondence. Zoning Board of Appeals notices.
At 683 American Legion Highway, which is AMA Engineering, there was a complaint from an abutter that the drainage on that site is causing flooding on their property, and they made a complaint to the building inspector. Building inspector did not make a finding that 683 American Legion Highway did not make a finding that their drainage is malfunctioning. So they appealed that administrative decision to the ZBA. So this is just a notice of a hearing. And 15 Bob Street is a finding that was issued by the Zoning Board of Appeals. There was an addition put onto a house, and due to a contractor's error, it was in violation of the setback. So they made a finding for that. This house was already non-conforming in terms of the front yard setback. So they made a finding that the garage setback, which was the addition onto the house, was not detrimental to the neighborhood.
So, and was it somebody appealing that, or they already made that?
They made the decision that it wasn't detrimental to the neighborhood.
Okay.
Chair,
And then-
before adjourning, I cannot make the next meeting on the 27th because I've got the heart surgery that day. So I'm sorry, I just want to let you know.
Is it day surgery, or is it?
I'll be in the, my brother, they said you'll probably get out Friday. My brother pointed out that you should remember, John, that Charlton is very well known for the quality of the fish chowder on Fridays. So if I'm going to stay, I should stay through lunch, I guess.
You're having it done in Charlton?
Yeah, well, Charlton's great in terms as far as
Yeah,
heart surgery.
For heart surgery.
Yeah,
I can testify to that.
yeah.
Wow.
And Mr. Chair, I have a conflict that evening as well, so we may not have a quorum.
Yeah, we won't have
Yeah.
a quorum, so
We probably won't have a quorum, so let's
We can-
reschedule that meeting.
do we have anything scheduled on that meeting, public hearing wise? Okay, and we don't have any A&Rs in the till, so I think we can just cancel that one.
Just cancel the meeting.
Okay,
Want a motion to adjourn?
I do. Well, first of all, do you want to talk about the DCR coming to do an audit of?
I don't have a whole lot of information on it, so the DCR is the authority that has oversight of the town's administration of floodplain permitting, and they are doing an audit of the town's administration of floodplain permitting. They requested files from the last 5 years from the Planning Department, Conservation Commission, and the Building Department. The Planning Board has not considered any projects within the floodplain. So we're off the hook, but we are staying involved in the process as the regulatory authority. So they have some folks coming down here in March to review 150 files from the building department, and then I think pretty much all of Conservation Commission's files for floodplain permitting.
Well, I hope when they bring all this staff to Westport, there'll be an opportunity for people to ask them why they think a 40-foot road down through the dunes that requires destruction of dunes is a good idea, because nobody else seems to think it's a good idea. But that's not our purview, that's the Conservation Commission, and I know they're on top of it.
We actually don't, I can't recall ever seeing an application for someone to work in the floodplain that comes before us.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it could for a new road or something like that, or if it, you know, it's a structure over 2,000 square feet, you know, theoretically it could come before the planning board. But yeah, you're right. I mean, we looked through the last 5 years and there's not anything
They should be
there.
happy. We don't allow filling in the floodplain.
Right.
Okay. And entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.